Well, hello. My name is Reverend Vaughn Amaré, and I welcome you to Northern Lights Spiritual Center. Northern Lights Spiritual Center is a community of people dedicated to using spiritual and practical principles to create lives we want to live. Northern Lights Spiritual Center offers practical and spiritual tools to make positive changes in our lives. We at Northern Lights Spiritual Center acknowledge our presence here on the traditional and unceded ancestral lands of the first people of Seattle, the Duwamish and Salish Coast peoples. These people are still here, and we join with them in how they continue to honor and bring to light their ancient heritage. We seek to resist the erasure of Indigenous histories as we work towards honoring and inviting the truth. Please join me for our opening song, In This Very Room, by Ron and Carol Harris.
In this very room, there's quite enough love for all the world. And in this very room, there's quite enough joy for all the world. And there's quite enough peace and quite enough power to walk through our every fear. For Spirit, sweet Spirit, is in this very room. In this very room, there's quite enough love. Quite enough joy for all the world, and there's quite enough peace and quite enough power to walk through our every fear. For Spirit, sweet Spirit, is in this very room.
And for this morning's meditation, I just invite us to kind of settle into where it is that we're sitting and just gradually become aware of our breath. So breathing in, letting the chest rise, and breathing out, feeling the fall of the chest. Breathing in again. And breathing out. You may let your attention become aware of the sound of rainfall. And in many parts of the country, rainfall has not been happening. But for this moment, imagine our souls as places that are receptive to a gentle rain. Imagine ourselves being nourished. Imagine our thirsts being quenched. Imagine a life-giving presence. And in today's meditation, I'm going to ask us to lean into our imagination a little bit. So just as the rainfall brings life, or can bring life, just take a moment and consider something, someone, some event that has given us more joy in our life. Breathe that in. Breathe in that greater joy. Perhaps it was someone making eye contact with us. Perhaps it was a little hand touching our hand. If we're parents, perhaps it was counting our children's fingers and toes. If we never had children, but we had pets, imagine that little pet snuggling, trying to get close. Imagine that joyful connection with each breath in. Let ourselves take in a greater awareness of that object or person or being that helped us discover more joy. Consider, was there ever a riff of music, a line in a song that just somehow, for some reason, evoked a smile? Just let ourselves lean into that melody. Let ourselves lean in to those words, to that riff. Let our souls know that comes as a particular gift to us. Let that melody or let those words echo. Let that joy-giving gift settle. Just pay attention to where in the body you may find it finding its home. Is it in our gut, our heart? Is it in our mind's eye for an image that it creates? Do we sense it in our fingers and toes? Breathing in and out. Taking in the nourishment. Of joy-giving life. let ourselves open to some moving image that we may have seen, either in person or on video. And just seeing it, we couldn't help but smile. Maybe it's babies making other babies laugh. Maybe it's two toddlers running towards each other and coming together in a giant hug. Maybe it's a lioness watching over her young. A bird carrying food back to the nest. The majestic eagle feeding the eaglet. Whatever that image is, just let it fill our mind's eye. And with these breaths in and out, in this attention to life bringing us joy, eliciting smiles that we may not have expected to give. Let ourselves simply lean into that moment of joy. Knowing that no matter what is happening, that we can turn our attention, that we can pause at any moment. And find what it is that our hearts may seek. So just gather that sense of joy. Pay attention to where it fills our bodies. Is it in our gut? Is it in our heart? Is it in our hands? Is it in our feet? Is it in our head? And just let that become like a radio signal, sending out expressions of joy. What can it mean for us to be centers of joy, centers of good, sending that out? No matter what has been actually coming to us, what can it mean to be bigger than whatever we have received? Just let ourselves let divine joy use us as instruments. And just settle into our chairs or wherever it is that we are. Become become aware again of the support, become aware of the air around us, and as we feel comfortable, open our eyes and come back to the space. And I say, and so it is. So today's reading comes from a teacher and writer named Lindsay Sheffer. And Lindsay's article was, do what you love and love what you do. Are you waking up each day looking for the perfect thing, activity, job, or relationship that will make your life work? Do you believe getting this new thing will allow you to do what you love, ensuring you'll be happy forever? Well, in reality, life doesn't work like this. And we would probably get bored if it did. There is likely no one thing, experience, or activity that will keep you feeling passionate and engaged all the time. What's important is staying connected to what you love and continuing to grow in that process. The thing is, most people already know their passions. So many people walk around in life looking for their passion, as if true passion is some mysterious, difficult thing to find. And it runs away from us once we find it. In fact, the problem is rarely lack of passion. Most of us already know what we love to do and what we love. We know what excites us, even if we haven't done it for years. Instead, we focus on what we think we must do. For example, maybe you love building model cars or painting pet portraits. Yet each day you work in a completely unrelated job and make no time for the activity you know you love. The truth is, you probably don't need to find your passion. You just need to start doing what you already know you're passionate about. Now here's the thing, no activity is exciting all the time. Even people who are living their dream lifestyle or working their dream job don't love it all the time. Every job or lifestyle has parts that we won't like. Let's say your dream is to become an actress, and you succeed. But you may not enjoy the process of auditioning and facing rejection. You may experience moments of boredom when you practice your lines over and over and over again. But overall, the experience is worth it. Most of life is like that. Don't set yourself up for disappointment by demanding that life be perfect all the time. If things were perfect and easy, you would ultimately stop learning and growing, and life would begin to lack even more meaning. Be grateful for both the good and bad moments, as they are both entirely necessary if you genuinely want to do what you love and love what you do. And so it is.
So it is.
So, seeing as this is the 1st of August, yes, there is a brand new chant for the month. And the theme for this month is Pause for Guidance. So, the song kind of focuses at first on how we may have obstacles to pausing for guidance. The words to the first verse are, if I travel at this breakneck pace, well, I'll wait as this very room goes away. If I travel at this breakneck pace, if I treat my life like a race, if I never stop to smell the flowers, if I'm filling up all my hours, if I don't leave space for grace, I don't leave place to play, I don't have heart to start, to follow guidance from within, to pause, listen, and begin. If I travel at this breakneck pace, if I treat my life like a race, if I never stop to smell the flowers, if I'm filling up all my hours, don't leave space for grace, I don't leave place to play, I don't have place to play. You don't have hard to start, to follow guidance from within, to pause and listen and begin. And we, if we travel at this breakneck pace, if we treat our lives like a race, if we never stop to smell the flowers, if we're filling up all our hours, we don't leave space for grace, we don't leave place to play, we don't have heart to start, to follow guidance from within, to pause and listen and begin. Now I've got a solution in the final one. Travel at a slower pace, I treat my life as a grace, I stop to smell the flowers, I find time in all my hours, I do leave space for grace, I do leave place to play, I do have heart to start, I follow guidance from within, I pause and listen and begin. So now Reverend Mykal will have our before talk song, and then he will give us today's talk.
Here to share the screen for the song.
We'll see whether I can eat cookies this week without choking on it and having to go home to get my asthma medicine. That's what I did last week.
I was feeling sad the other day, feeling sorry for myself. I had to take a moment to clear my head. I went down to the river, the water always soothes my soul. The current seems to wash my cares away. The beauty flows right through me. I'm a part of everything I see. So alive, astounded by the majesty I see. So alive, awake to all the possible in me. So alive to the magic, so alive to the dreams, discovering that life is so much more than what it seems. I cannot be content to just survive. I'm a part of something infinite and free, and so alive. Sometimes when I'm discouraged, I go and see a friend and hold her little baby in my arms. No words could describe this. He's perfect and he's new, and all of life's distractions fall away. The beauty flows right through me, and I'm a part of everything I see. So alive, astounded by the majesty I see. So alive, awake to all the possible in me. So alive to the magic, so alive to the dreams, discovering that energy I see, so alive, awake to all that's possible in me, so alive to the magic, so alive to the dreams, discovering my life is so much more than what it seems. I cannot be content to just survive. I'm a part of something infinite and free, and so alive.
Good morning.
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 And that was Reverend Mykal. We went to, well, we actually graduated ministerial school with him. And that song, I'm so alive, I guess it just spoke to me today. And like Reverend Vaughn said earlier, the month of August is, our theme for the month is to pause for guidance. I added for rest, rejuvenation, and to prepare for the next leg of a journey. So the title of my talk today is, I have a twofold one. It's time for Tuneup and Are You Alive? And by that I mean, are you living the life that you really, really, really want to live, or are you just going through the motions? Is it time for a tune-up, to ensure that we're aligned with the values in our lives? Every once in a while we need to do that. We need to check in to see if we are indeed holding true to the values that we hold dearest. And are we actually being authentic with ourselves? I mean, sometimes we do things because we think we ought to do them, we should do them, or we feel that other people expect certain things of us, and so we have to do what they expect. But by doing what others always think, or what we think we should do, or whatever, we're not being honest. We're not being true to ourselves. We're not holding ourselves to the highest self that we can be, because if we were, we would be doing what. Like in the song about making your heart sing, in this life, this life is so very short. As I move to the, I guess, later stages of my life, I realize that. I've realized it before, but when you're 20, when you're 30, I got all kinds of time. And 70 is here before you know it. Trust me. I really don't know where the time went, or where it's going to go. Maybe it'll slow down just a tad bit, but I don't know. But in this time that we're on this earth, we weren't put here to be bored and to just, there's a word I'm looking for, but I can't not accept it, but just to kind of settle. That's the word. If we're not here just to settle, and I think so many of us do, we get in a job situation, and we settle it because one thing, it's a known thing. You might have some kind of security, and you're afraid to, maybe if you step out of that job, the security is gone, but you're maybe not quite as happy as you would like to be. I know when I worked at Boeing, there were times when I really loved my job. There were a lot of times, I should say, I really loved my job. However, toward the end, where I was working, the plant I was at, it was not my joy anymore. It hadn't been for quite some time. The atmosphere, who got so negative and so down, it just, would seep into your soul. And that is not good for anybody. And so are we in alignment with our personal values of spirituality, of relationships, of time, of health? That's a good question to maybe take into meditation or contemplation. Are we in alignment with these values? And Ernest Holmes in this thing called You wrote, "You are to find the roots of your life in pure spirit. Lose your sense of being separated from your good, and you will find that you are united with it." I like that. Lose your sense of being separated from your good, and you will find that you are united with it. I mean, so many times we search and we search and we search, and we just beat our heads against the wall. And I have found if we just let go, it'll show up. Just like looking, say, for your keys. I mean, I'll lose something in the house, and I know I put them in a specific. I know it. I would swear my life on it. Good thing I don't, but because I would search and search, and finally I'd say, okay, I let it go. I know it, and nothing is lost in the mind of God. It'll show up, and within a very short time, most of the time, it shows up. And you know what? It was where I put it, but not where I thought I put it. And that's very frustrating for me anyway. So if you want to grow, we must take time for a regular spiritual tune-up. We need to rejuvenate, refresh, and revitalize ourselves. I was sitting here thinking while Reverend Vaughn was reading. I know I should have been paying attention, but I was. But things pop into your head anyway. That one time where was really rejuvenating for me was a silent retreat I went on. And I told some people I was going to a silent retreat. They said, "You can't do that. You'll never make that." Well, the whole retreat wasn't silent. There was just like a 12 or 18-hour period that was silent. But I said, "No, I can do that." And it gave time to, because when you can't talk, there's other things. And the mind loves to go, and search and search. And that was a good time for me. I did a lot of journaling during that period of time. And I was amazed at what came out. And in journaling, I'm always amazed what comes up. Maybe that's why I don't do as often as I probably should. But we need to take time for some sort of spiritual tune-up. Sometimes that's meeting with a practitioner, a minister, maybe even a really good friend. Because when we tune up our cars, it makes the engine sound better, go faster, or maybe not faster, but work easier. And in a sense, wouldn't we like to, as the car moves easier, wouldn't we like to get up in the morning and have that sense of starting our day easier? I mean, I don't jump out of bed and say, "Oh, let's have a happy day." I know some people that probably do. I know my spouse kind of does. He's more about it than I am. I always thought I was a morning person, but I realized I'm not a morning person. Some days though I wake up and it's like, whoa. I know this week I had a whole new attitude. It changed on Thursday. I broke my hand when we were in Cleveland last week, or a couple weeks ago. 2 weeks ago today. And on Wednesday when I saw one doctor, they thought, I was going to have surgery. And sooner the better. And we were scheduled to go on vacation this coming Tuesday. So I was getting all in my head, getting, all worked up and saying that, our life is being put on hold until this meeting with the surgeon tomorrow. Well, we met with the surgeon, and I walked out of there. I think I probably had a little spring in my step because he said, he suggested no surgery for what is going on, and had been healing for 11 days. So you would have to kind of maybe even break the one spot. So it's amazing what a couple little words can do to change your attitude, to change your outlook. And so even something, if we do something like a spiritual tune-up, we can open up and see what is available to us. I mean, because when we go to a chiropractor, for those that do, you get your spine all cracked in alignment, and that's what a spiritual tune-up can do. It can get us back in alignment with the divine. Then what we need to do is we need to evaluate, to check in and see where you want improvements in your life, where you want your part of your life to change. I mean, you may just want more of what you have. If your life is going so great, so fantastic, you just, why not have more of it? That is possible. And if you got that much going good for you, it is probable. So, and become in this process of evaluating, to become more teachable in those areas that you want to improve. And being teachable means being humble. Because being humble creates an inner freedom from having to protect those parts that we try to hide from ourselves and others. In other words, we develop a quiet, understanding, and compassionate heart. And then we embrace our humanness. I think sometimes we think we need to be more than human. When we are human here, having this experience of spirit expressing through us, each and every day, we should appreciate that. I think we should revel in it, in our humanness. Yes, the humanness, we have frailties. We have the physical frailties, we have the mental, emotional, we have all these little different things that go on. But that's all part of being human. And for many of us, when we fall short at something that is important to us, like a job or relationship or whatever that may be, our self-esteem plummets. And I know that from a personal fact. When I feel I failed at something, then okay, yeah. And then of course I had to do something wrong with all this stuff where you come and get the little wherever the whips out and kind of start beating yourself up, which is always good, isn't it? Just feels good to beat yourself up. Not really. And this doesn't happen when you have humility, or it happens at a lesser degree. Your ability to withstand failure or criticism comes from your sense of intrinsic value of being human, rather than by outer means. By being human. I am human. We are human. And when we fall at a task, or don't live up to expectations, especially our own expectations, it doesn't mean that there is something wrong with us. In order to grow, in order to learn, we have to be teachable. And sometimes you need to fail. Failure is a teachable moment. Failure doesn't mean that you've done something wrong, that it is a learning process. It's a part of that of learning. And we have to be open to, we have to be have that humility to say, okay, yes, this didn't go exactly the way I thought it should go or how it should go. I mean, I used to be my own worst critic when I would build something or do something. People would say, oh, you know, compliment or whatever. I said, oh yeah, but look at this. You know, I'd always point out all the discrepancies. And finally, I built something one day, and I noticed a couple little things that weren't, you know, could have been a little better. Well, I said, you know, I did the best I could do with what I had and what I know. And so I was satisfied with it. I need to practice that more, you know, more nowadays too, because sometimes I get so critical. You know, it's not up to my own expectations. And I believe that most times, most of us are our own worst critics. Beating ourselves up, picking at that scab, you know, all the time, and just not accepting that we did the best we could do. Just like our parents, you know, our families. We look back and say, oh, this woes me and all this stuff. I've been there, I've done that. But then if we look at, did they do the best they could do with what they had? I have to look at my mother, and yes, I have to say she could have made different choices, and she did make different choices at times. But she did the best she could do. Now we need to take and look at the things that are no longer working in our lives, whether that's people, places, things, jobs, whatever that may be. We need to look at those things and ask ourselves, are we willing to let go of these things? That's like right now, we're going through a lot of our stuff, and because we have a lot of stuff, and it's time to let go. Just like if you want to get some new clothes and you have no room in your closet, you might have to purge your closet so you have room for those clothes, otherwise they're going to look pretty bad just laying all over the floor. So we can choose to lose all these things. And by losing, I mean letting go. To let go of the unhappiness and judgment and victim mentality. All these things that sometimes they're like that heavy baggage that we carry around, and then we walk stoop because we have so much heavy baggage, and we need to be willing to lose these things, to let them go, to let them, you know, go back to the nothingness from which they came. We can lose it just like we got it. You can create a ritual of sorts and let it go. I'm thinking of maybe just writing a thing down. You may not have to take a physical thing, but write it down or a picture of it and burn it. And that's one way of letting it go. I remember in AA, in the one step where we make amends to those we get, you know, harmed, and there were some people you couldn't make amends to because either maybe they had passed on, or for me it was they were in another country. So what we were told is write this amends letter, and then just burn it and release it. It releases, you know, into the ethers. And that's how we can do it with a lot of things. And then actually you have to step up if it's the physical stuff, you need to do something to get rid of it. I mean, there's plenty of people that want your stuff. I know, I set things out on the sidewalk. An old grill. I didn't think it would go. Somebody wanted it. So, you know, one person's unwanted things is somebody's treasure. And so we don't need to hang all on to this. I don't know if anybody wants to pick up unhappiness from you, because that's not really a great thing to have. But releasing all that and letting it go and to open up, to allow yourself to come in, have it come into your life. Somehow I think I got some stuff in here, but I don't think I did. Maybe I did. There's a story that they shared, and it's by Jean, I think it's Pellegrino, on change and growth. And it's a cute little story. It might be, bear with me, it might be, it's a little long, but not that long. Long ago, when the world was very new, there was a certain lobster who was determined that the Creator had made a mistake. So he set up an appointment to discuss the matter. With all due respect, said the lobster, I wish to complain about the way you designed my shell. You see, just as I got used to the one outer casing, then I have to shed it for another. Very inconvenient, and rather a waste of time. To which the Creator replied, I see. But do you realize that it is the giving up of one shell that allows you to grow into another? But I like myself just the way I am, the lobster said. Your mind is made up, the Creator asked. Indeed, the lobster stated firmly. Very well, smiled the Creator. From now on, your shell will not change, and you may go about your business just as you do right now. That's very kind of you, said the lobster, and he left. At first, the lobster was very content, wearing the same old shell, but as time passed, he found that his once light and comfortable shell was becoming quite heavy and tight. After a while, in fact, the shell became so cumbersome that the lobster couldn't feel anything at all outside himself. As a result, he was constantly bumping into others. Finally, it got to the point where he couldn't hardly even breathe. So, with great effort, he went back to see the Creator. With all due respect, again, the lobster sighed, contrary to what you promised, my shell has not remained the same. It keeps shrinking. Not at all, smiled the Creator. It has remained the same size. What happened is that you changed inside, within your shell. The Creator continued, you see, everything changes continuously. No one remains the same. That's why that's the way I've made things. When you let go of your shell and choose to grow, said the Creator, you build new strength within yourself. And in that strength, you'll find new capacity to love yourself, to love those around you, to love life itself. This is my plan for each one. So the idea that, we need to let go of stuff in order to grow. Because the negative stuff that we hang on to just eats at us. Like I like to say, it's like that little piranha inside, just chewing away at our insides and causing, havoc. And this hanging on and to these things that no longer serve us in our lives, that's what a lot of times causes disease and illness. Because we are hanging on to the negative. And the negative just sits there and brews and brews and brews. I can see the witch's pot. Toil, and trouble, bubble, whatever, however they say that. But, so we need to open up and look and have that serious look inside. Question. Are we actually, what did I say beginning here? Are we actually in alignment, with our values? And if our values are having all this turmoil in our lives, well then, yes, you are. But if your values are to be happy, joyous, and free, then it's time to step up and do something about it. To clean house. To get a tune-up. Whatever that tune-up may look like. So there's a spiritual practice, you can things like you getting support, see a practitioner. We call them prayer practitioners. And if you don't know, they're there to listen, to observe, to honor. And to give you space. Because we have the answers. We know within our hearts, but sometimes we just need to share it with someone. Someone that you can open up and you can trust with your, I guess, deepest dark secrets or whatever maybe you may be holding on to that you need to get rid of. The practitioners listen. They're not there to fix. They're not there to heal. Because we heal ourselves. And to be teachable. Sometimes, they say you can't teach an old dog new tricks. Well, I don't buy that. Because I can learn and I'm an old dog. Sometimes I don't want to learn. I don't want to learn new things because I like it the way it was. It was easier this way. Like you get a new operating system on a computer and it really screws everything up. Or you get a new version of Microsoft Word. And they've changed a lot of things, and I just, that's one thing that sets my little hair on the back of my neck, I guess, up, because I like it the way it was. But sometimes we have to be open to, because eventually I will realize that, yes, maybe it is better. Sometimes they have upgrades, and they're not better. So then we have to upgrade again. But I think that's just the same with us. We run across things, we make a choice to do something, and like I said, it may not turn out the way we liked it, but we make another choice, we can redo it. That's the one great thing about being alive. We are alive and we have choice. I think that's one of my favorite, what do you call it? Bylaws or whatever it is about choice. I forget that sometimes, that I have a choice in a lot of things. Well, almost in everything. And I can choose to be happy, I can choose to be on a pity pot. And on the pity pot is not quite as, I find it not quite as refreshing and uplifting as being happy, as being joyful. Sometimes we have to go through the pity pot stage and the sad stage, and all these. So we have to go through these stages as part of growth in order to reach that goal, that happiness, that being happy, joyous, and free. And so, just like cars, we need to tune up. Just like anything with a running motor. Our bodies need to tune up. I've had several tune-ups. Our minds need, I believe they need tune-ups. They need to be adjusted or refreshed. We hit the refresh button. And so this week, I just ask you to take time to reevaluate your life and look at your values. And ask yourself, am I in alignment with my personal values? I think first we have to discover and realize what exactly, are our personal values. And state them and say, am I, because they change, I think they change over time. Because what was really important to me back in, say, my 20s and 30s, probably isn't as important to me today. things have changed, I've changed, the world has changed. And so we have to reevaluate and say, okay, you know, it's kind of like an update. What are my values now? And do whatever you need to get to those values. I mean, to uphold those values. And be willing to lose those things that, you know, that no longer serve, whether it, like I said, whether it's people, places or things. And like attitudes like judgment. Judgment really isn't flattering on anybody. So start being that which you want to see more of in the world, that you want to experience in the world. You know, like smiling at somebody on the street. I know sometimes these days it can be a little scary to, you know, come face to face with somebody and actually smile. But it can be done. Start out in a store. I've learned that from somebody that's a very good teacher of that, of smiling and asking how their day is going. And I was amazed when I was alone and I did that the first time. The response. There was like you just gave them a beautiful birthday present or something. They just kind of, you know, like, oh my God, somebody is actually seeing me and asking me and not screaming at me. Because sometimes I would not want to be those people. I did work as a clerk and cashier in high school, and the customer's not always right. I don't care who says that. So when we let go of things or people or whatever we need to let go of that are holding us down, holding us back, causing us to be angry and frustrated, we make room to grow. We make room to grow. And to me, that is one thing I am on this earth to do, to learn, to grow, and to love. And so this week, I just invite you to ask yourself, am I aligned with my values? What are my values first? And what can I do to get in alignment with them? And just sit and be still with yourself. I mean, listen to that still small voice from within. Because the answer's there. And so it is.
That's what it is.
Now next week, there will only be a Zoom. We're going to be out of town. Reverend Pamela's going to do the Zoom service again. So if you have people on Facebook would like to join in on Zoom, it'll be on our Facebook page, the link. Let's see what else is there.
Michael,
Yes, ma'am.
one time she didn't have the Zoom address. One of those 2 times,
Oh,
I'm pretty sure.
okay.
Anyway, I couldn't find it.
Oh, well, I'll make sure you get it,
Okay,
even from far away.
okay.
That's the greatness of technology.
It is, isn't it?
Let's see what else is there. I can't remember.
I'm sorry.
Do you have anything, Reverend Bob?
No.
Okay, I always want to thank people for being here, for being online, for being part of Northern Lights community, whether you're here or not. Your contribution of yourself, of your presence, no matter where it is a gift. And what I believe is like when the woman in the Bible only gave a penny, Jesus said that it wasn't the amount, it was where it came from. It came from the heart. And I believe that giving from the heart is the most precious gift that there can be. And so, I just want to thank everyone, and if anyone would like to contribute, you can go to our webpage, which is northernlightspiritualcenter.com. I always have to remember that. And there's a donate button, and we will be grateful for anything. And so next week, Reverend Pamela will be speaking. She usually speaks on the third Sunday, but seeing we're going to be out of town, we're switching things up. Got to switch things up sometimes. Shake it up, see what comes out. So until next week, I just want to say thank you, and just knowing that all is well, and so it is.
So